I'm Marc Quinn, I'm an artist from London, England. It's difficult to define the art that I create. It often looks very different. I work in many different materials and I let the idea tell me what material to use. To me, art's about making meditative objects that let you understand something more about the world. Art is also like the waking dream. When you look at an artwork, you're awake, but your mind and your spirit is somewhere else. The two pieces in Dunham, funny enough, they do kind of sort of go together. They're very much about time in a way, one of the subjects of them. Starting with the shell, which is called the architecture of life. It's a shell that I found in the Natural History Museum. I became interested in how scientists make physical objects to describe a scientific theory and things. And I was looking at shells and I thought, to me, they're like a scientific object to describe time. You have at the back the spiral, which is, as the shell gets bigger, as the creature lays down more shell, you get this trace of the time that it's been there. It's like the rings of a tree. And then the front of it, which is the shiny bit, when I make it into a sculpture, I polish that, so that's always reflecting the present moment. So then you have the sense of the present moment becoming the past. So in a way, it's the sculpture's a demonstration of the space-time continuum in some way. And also in this sculpture, you have the Fibonacci curves, you have the sense of the turning of the universe, you have the world, perhaps you have a black hole in the middle. So it's all about the universe, but it's also made by a tiny brainless creature with no spinal column. And it's made this perfect object. So it also makes you wonder where art comes from. So it brings up lots of philosophical questions. And I think that makes it fascinating for me. So I did a series of sculptures of shells. The other piece, Held by Desire, The Dimensions of Freedom, is I bought myself a bonsai tree, which was 300 years old. It comes from 1700. I kind of was fascinated by this object because it's a mixture between a sculpture and a living thing. It's a living sculpture. It is a sculpture. I've called it a sculpture. But I also love the idea that really a bonsai is about, I think, a classic human thing, that we love to control nature. Everything is about controlling nature. You plant it around here, the roads, houses. Humans need to be in control. And then I thought, well, if you released the tree and brought it back to the scale of a real tree, then it's about letting go. So their sculpture's about letting go, in a way. So I got the tree, I 3D scanned the trunk of it. Obviously I wasn't going to chop it up and mold it. And then every single leaf is cast in a centrifuge in bronze. So there's like hundreds of thousands of leaves, I think, or at least, I don't know how many, it's beyond counting. And those are all welded onto the tree. So you have this object that, to a lot of all intents and purposes, and even to animals, looks like a real tree. I saw some birds sitting in it earlier on. But yet it's not a real tree, and it has this whole narrative within it. Again, it's about our relationship to nature, it's about beauty, it's about using scale to mean something. A bonsai tree is using scale to tell you about control, and this is using a bigger scale to tell you about liberation. And maybe I'll look at it in 5 years' time and think it's about something else. Hopefully, a good artwork, its meaning always is changing and shifting with the world, and it reflects other things that are happening. Probably a lot of people will think it's just a real tree and won't look at it. So it's succeeded if that happens.